Thinking about quitting your job, these are some of the first things that you want to make sure that you take care of before you actually go through with that final resignation. For those of you guys who have been watching me for a while, you'll know that I went through the same process, right? Back in 2017, I quit my job. And so these are some of the things that I did, as well as some of the things I wish I would have done that would have put me in a better position once I decided to quit my job and actually went through with it. Okay. So if that's something that interests you, you want to make sure you stay tuned. Now, before we jump into it, I know you probably see everything's different here. I'm actually currently spending a little bit of the holidays out in Paris, France. And I'll actually throw up a little bit of B-roll that I kind of took from my day out the past few days. So you can kind of take a look at that and see what I've been up to. Besides that, I wanted to make sure that I shot a video for you guys just to kind of hit on a topic that a lot of people have been talking about, especially in the States. You've been hearing about something called the Great Resignation. A lot of people are kind of getting to the point where they're starting to quit their jobs, right? They're trying to look for something better, or, they're trying to venture out on their own, whatever the case may be. And so these are kind of a few points that I wanted to make sure I touched on, because you want to make sure that you position yourself and put yourself in the best position to succeed in whatever you decide to go after next. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you actually make all those last doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, all that stuff, right? Because one of the things I didn't realize was how good of healthcare I had in the finance industry, or just health benefits in general, right? I had really good healthcare, good dentist plan. I had a good vision plan as well, all that stuff, right? And one thing I would do differently that I actually didn't do was I would have made sure to do all my appointments and everything like that, because a lot of the time, you're not going to be really thinking much of it until you've left that job and you realize either you don't have insurance anymore, or the insurance you now have is a lot more expensive and it's not as good of a health plan as you might have had at a company, your previous employer. Especially if you're working at a pretty big employer, they're typically going to want to have a really great plan for you. Okay, so that's what I recommend you do. You want to make sure that you're kind of exploring. We'll kind of touch on here the next point, a few other things that you want to do to help you with that aspect of your well-being. The next thing you want to do is you want to check on your eligibility for employee benefits. Okay, so that means you want to be checking on, unused vacation and sick pay. A lot of the times they will pay you back that money, right? If you didn't use all your vacation days for the year or all your sick days, then they will typically just pay you out that money. So you can expect to include that in your next check. But if you're not making sure that you're not keeping track of all of it, it might just be, maybe they have an administration error and they forget to pay it out. And that's something that you want to reach out to them, right? Especially if you're leaving a job, you want to make sure that you're getting all the compensation that you deserve. Now, another thing you want to look at is your kind of touching on the last point is the health insurance, right? You want to make sure that for the first 6 months, 12 months, whatever your plan is, right? You want to make sure that you're somehow covered. And there is programs out there. There's actually a program called COBRA. It's the Continuation of Health Coverage Plan. And it's actually through the government. You're pretty much able to get health insurance for the first 6 months of you not working. Okay, so that's one aspect you want to look at. But you want to talk with your employer and just kind of see. Obviously, once you've let them know that you're resigning, make sure you don't have some sort of plan that's available for you in that instance that might have more benefits than a COBRA plan would. Next thing you want to look at is have a safety net, guys. You want to make sure that you have a great plan that you're going to go after, right? I like to call it batten down the hatches, right? You want to make sure that if okay, I'm about to quit or I plan on leaving my job, wouldn't you want to build up the biggest safety net that you can? What I mean by that is start saving up more money. That way, let's say you plan on getting another job in 2 months, but after 2 months, you don't have another job. You want to make sure that you have as big of a safety net as possible. That way you might have 6 months worth of expenses saved up, right? That you can now, be able to use to help you make sure you're just paying the bills while you're looking for that job. So if you don't get it within the first 2 months like you had planned, and you still have about 4 more months of leeway to be able to get that job. Next thing you want to do is you want to plan your next move. Okay, there's a lot of people who just quit with no plan in mind. You're just sick of your job and decide I'm just going to quit. You want to make sure that you have some sort of game plan, right? That's going to keep you motivated. And especially whenever you quit, if you're having trouble finding a job, the next job, that's really something that's going to demotivate you, right? So you want to make sure that you already have a game plan in mind, right? Whether maybe you're quitting a job because you want to pivot into another field, right? You've already started doing the research, maybe even, started doing certifications or whatever that can boost your resume for that specific industry that you're trying to break into, right? Or maybe you're quitting because you want to start a business venture. In that case, typically what I recommend is you've already started that venture. You've been doing it on the side and now you're looking into doing it more full time, right? In that case, you already have a game plan. As soon as I start working, I'm going to pour more time, more energy into these projects or this side hustle that I've been doing. And the final point is you want to take just a few days off. Okay. Now, obviously I'm not going to specify the exact amount of time. It's just, you want to give yourself a chance to just breathe. Really, I think that's really the big point. I know specifically whenever I left my job, I took now looking back, I think it was a lot of time, but I took a week off essentially. I was still doing light work, but it was more so me just taking a week off, pretty much just watching Netflix. And I know after that week, I had to kick it into gear and kind of look at myself and say, hey, man, like, you got to be pushing a lot more now that you're doing your own stuff. But I still think that it was valuable for me to at least take a few days. And the reason being is it kind of just gives you a chance to breathe and kind of figure out exactly what you want to get into. Okay. A lot of times you're going to see that, especially if you're starting your own thing, now you just went from working 8 hours and getting paid to, especially if it's a new business, now you might be working 12 hours and you're not making any money. Right? That can be a huge shift and it can really affect you mentally, right? So you want to just make sure that you kind of take in a little time, a little break. Well, even if it's one day, right? Whatever it is, I'd recommend you take a little time to just kind of, reflect on what's going on and, kind of just take a step back and look at the situation as a whole. Anyways, I think that's pretty much the gist of it, guys. I think that will put you in a good place when it comes to you deciding to quit your job. If you found value in this video, go ahead and hit the like button down below and hit the subscribe button so you can not miss any of my future videos, all right? And if there's any other videos you guys like to see me shoot, be sure that you throw it down in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to take a look at it, all righty? So that's it. I'll see you guys at the next one. Peace.